Hi there, and welcome to Philosophy of Psychology. My name is Roger Foster, and I'm a philosophy professor at BMCC. And at BMCC, this course counts as a social science elective or a general elective in the psychology major, and also as an elective in the philosophy major. I am the philosophy coordinator at BMCC, the coordinator of the philosophy major. So if you have any questions about philosophy or the major, feel free to reach out and talk to me at any time. You'll see my details at the end of this lecture. You can reach out anytime to talk about philosophy. So about this course, this is a fully asynchronous course. That means there are no face-to-face meetings. We don't meet for lectures. Instead, the lectures are pre-recorded, and you'll see that they are available on Brightspace. They're actually uploaded to YouTube, but you'll find the links on Brightspace. And so the lectures you can do in your own time during any particular week. So we don't meet face to face. Um, Office hours I'll have every week, and you're welcome to come and talk to me in office hours. And in fact, I'd very much recommend reaching out and we can talk and you can learn some things about the course. So office hours are face to face on Tuesday and Thursday. And they're on Zoom on Wednesday. So I'll tell you about the office hours a little bit later in this presentation. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this course. In this course, we're going to look at some of the core problems of philosophy and psychology, issues like theories of mind, moral motivation and judgment, free will and responsibility, and psychology in its social and historical context. And one of our key questions will be, why did philosophy and psychology become separate disciplines from the 19th century onwards? So for most of history, philosophy and psychology were the same discipline in the sense that psychology was really part of philosophy. And psychology didn't emerge as an independent discipline until the late 19th century, when philosophy had already been around for thousands of years. So what we're trying to do in this course is to use the theoretical insight of philosophy and the more kind of empirical approach of psychology to illuminate each other and to learn about how they can complement each other. So in the topics that we look at, we'll be looking at these topics from a theoretical, philosophical point of view, but also looking at empirical studies and ideas that help us to formulate clear hypotheses about how things like self-knowledge, free will, moral motivation, how those things work, and how we can evaluate and judge whether they're present or not. So we'll draw upon the social sciences as well to ask critical questions about psychology as a discipline, drawing upon history and history and sociology, as well as philosophy to help us better understand how psychology came to be the discipline that it is today. So, as I mentioned, this course is a fully asynchronous course, and it runs for 15 weeks. And the course is organized into weekly segments. And the most important thing to convey is that the work must be completed on a weekly basis. In other words, there are weekly tasks which have due dates every week and must be completed weekly. So it's not a self-study module. It's not a correspondence course. This is a class. And what I mean by that is that we work together every week to make sense of the material. And you'll see we do that in the assignments that we do every week and build on our learning every week. So to be successful, it's important to be active and to stay active throughout the entirety of the course. So asynchronous means that you can complete the work on your own schedule. You can look at the lectures, do the reading and do the assignments on your own schedule, provided that you make all the weekly deadlines. And I'll show you where to find all the weekly deadlines. They're in the course map, and you'll see them on Brightspace as well. But there are weekly deadlines for the material, for the assignments that must be completed every week. You may hand in the work late if you don't make the deadlines, but late work can only be adjudged for half credit. So as a class, everyone is expected to contribute to the learning on a weekly basis. So you can do the lectures and assignments, like I said, at a time that works for you. But it's not a self-study course. We do the weekly assignments together. And those assignments represent the class learning that would take place if we were in an actual classroom. Here it's replicated in the weekly assignments that we do together. So the textbook for our class is Philosophy of Psychology, an Introduction by Miyazono and Bortolotti. And we'll be using this text, we'll be reading most of it through the course. We won't start it for the first few weeks, so you have a few weeks to get hold of it. All of the readings for the course that we'll be using will be made available on Blackboard, but it's important to get hold of this textbook, and you can get it from the BMCC bookstore, as well as online at various second-hand retailers. All right, so there are usually 2 readings to get through per week, and I'd recommend reading once through a reading to get a general idea, and a second time to pick up the specific claims. So you'll find with these readings, they're sometimes quite dense, and you need a bit of time to really get a handle on what's happening. So it's good to read once to get a general idea of what it's about. And then the second time you can focus on the specifics about the claims that are made and how they link together, and how they link together to formulate what the author wants to say. So I definitely recommend taking notes or marking the reading. The more you interact with the text, the more you will learn from it. And as you'll see, one of our assignments each week is that we'll mark up the reading together, and I'll talk about that shortly. Okay, so here's from the syllabus the evaluation and requirements for the course. Excuse me. So these are the assignments. There are 12 quizzes, which are 10 points each, so 120 points in total. There are 10 markup assignments. I call them markup assignments or annotation assignments. It's the same thing. So those are the assignments where we'll be marking up a text together. And sort of using that to try to make sense of what we're reading. We'll also do 10 VoiceThread assignments, and I'll explain to you how those work. There'll be 4 writing assignments that you'll complete. Those are timed writing assignments that must be completed in a particular time span, usually 2 hours. And finally, the final exam, which is worth 100 points. So there's a total of 700 points, and you'll see here the grading scheme, how many points you need to accumulate to achieve any particular grades. So the syllabus also has my info in it, information about me. It has the course description, and it has the description of assignments. And it also has a course outline with all the readings and dates. So make sure you take a close look at the syllabus before we get started. Okay, so the course map is very important because it contains the dates for all the assignments, along with all the weekly tasks that we'll be completing in the course. So if you never ever need to know when an assignment is due, all you need to do is consult the course map. And as you'll see, it's posted on Brightspace, and it tells you which particular week we're in and when the week starts, the topics, the readings, and the course content that must be completed, and then the weekly assignments and tasks, and any quizzes, essays, and exams that are also due on that particular week. So I'd recommend printing it out, keeping it with you, and if ever you're in doubt about a due date, just take a look at the course map. Okay, so let's talk a bit more in depth about the assignments. And as we saw, the assignments in this course are the quizzes, the hypothesis markup assignments, or annotations. Hypothesis is the name of the software, so they're markup assignments. So VoiceThread assignments as well. We'll talk about the writing assignments and the final exam. So those are all the assignments. Let's go through them one by one in a bit more detail. All right, so the quizzes will consist of 10 questions, 10 points each, so 100 points in total. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, because there's 100 points for the quiz, but it's worth 10 points in the grading scheme. So 12 quizzes in total, each quiz is worth 10 points. So they're worth 120 points in total, the 12 quizzes. So the quizzes consist of multiple choice, true, false, and fill in the blank questions. Like I said, there are 10 questions per quiz, and they're based on the reading and the lecture for each particular week. So I'd recommend completing the quiz last. They're usually due on Sunday, which is the end of the week. So I'd recommend completing the reading and the lecture, of course, and then completing the other assignments, and then you'll be ready to tackle the quiz once you've absorbed as much of the material as you can for that particular week. So the markup assignments, we'll be doing 10 of these assignments, and they're worth 10 points each, so 100 points in total. And to do well in the markup assignment, you'll need to do 3 things on the assignment, 3 separate things. And so you'll make 3 different markups or 3 different annotations. One of those will be a substantial post, and by substantial I mean 100 words or more, responding to a part of the text. So as you'll see, it's very easy. You can highlight a letter, you can highlight a word, you can highlight a paragraph, you can highlight a sentence. So you'll highlight a part of the text and then you'll make a comment on it. So you'll do one substantial post responding to a part of the text, and you'll also ask a question about a part of the text. So your question may be about maybe you want further information, maybe you're confused about something, maybe you're looking for an example, maybe you're just curious about some implication of what's being said. So you'll ask a question, and the third thing you'll do is respond to a classmate. So if you do those 3 things, the substantial post, ask a question, and respond to a classmate, you'll get maximum points in the markup assignments. One thing important to stress about the markup assignments is that they are it's an exploratory exercise. So I'm not looking for you to prove that you that you know everything about the text. I'm not looking for you to show what you've learned about the text. I'm certainly not looking for you to post an essay into the markup format box. So think of it more as an exploratory task. I want you to think about, why you're struck by something and what it means to you. So what does it suggest? Does it remind you of something? Does it sort of is there something that you're familiar with? Is there another sort of class or another subject where you're talking about the same thing? It's think about making connections and making connections to your experience, to your learning, and other things. And it's perfectly fine in the markup assignment to talk about your confusion or to talk about places where you don't understand what's going on. In fact, that's really useful to use the markup assignment to sort of express confusion, or maybe something's unclear, and to talk about that in the text. So if you think about it in that way, as a kind of exploratory assignment, and we're trying to read the text together, And in reading the text together, we're trying to sort of understand and sort of make collective sense of what it says. Then that's a really good way to approach the markup assignment. And I think you'll find it a really helpful thing because you'll see other people's comments as well on the assignment. And when you see other people's comments, you'll get a sort of sense of how they're responding, things that they're finding, and hopefully that will inspire you to sort of find things and use your own experience to sort of talk about things that you're getting from the text and how you're experiencing and interpreting it. Okay, so the VoiceThread assignments, again, there will be 10 assignments. So most weeks we will be doing a VoiceThread, and they're 10 points each and 100 points in total. So to do well on the VoiceThread, you need to do two things. First, you need to do a voice response to the prompt that I provide in the assignment. So you see each VoiceThread assignment that we do, I provide a short introduction prompt, which is maybe 2-3 minutes, introducing the question and the topic and what you're going to be responding to. So you'll do one substantial voice response. So you'll upload a voice file in response, talking about your take on whatever the question or the prompt is, and sort of giving your response to the prompt. So think about, a minute and a half to 2 minutes is fine for a response. You don't need to do more than that, but you're welcome to say more if you have more to say. And the second thing you have to do is a response to a classmate's post. So to get 4 points, do a substantial voice response and then do a response to a classmate. The response to the classmate can be text rather than voice if you prefer, and it doesn't have to be as substantial, as long, but it has to be long enough to be more than sort of good job or just a compliment or something like that. I want you to respond with some kind of substance. So if you do those two things, again, you'll do well in the VoiceThread assignment. So here's the VoiceThread rubric, and to go up to the maximum of 5 points here. So things like originality, comprehension, and clarity are important. So think about those things when you're composing your post. Okay, so we will do 4 timed 2-hour writing assignments in the course, and each writing assignment is worth 70 points. So points will be awarded for original ideas and evidence of engagement with the ideas and concepts discussed in the readings and lectures. So I'm looking for you to bring your own sort of original takes and ideas, drawing on your experience, drawing on your learning, to what we discuss in the course. So try to avoid bland and generic responses to the writing prompts. I'm looking for you to give your original ideas. I'm looking for you to present ideas that are clearly linked to your learning, that have some root in your experience. And I want you to present those ideas when you respond to the readings and lectures and you write your writing assignments. Bear in mind that there's often two or more questions in the writing assignment. So you'll complete one question and then maybe secondly a more kind of reflexive question or reflective question that asks you about what you found important in the reading, or what question you might ask the author, or responses like that. And these are they're not just supplementary questions. They're important questions of content and substance that I want you to think carefully about and to do some reflective thinking in response to those questions. So I want to see evidence of reflection, that you're thinking about your learning and you're able to do the kind of reflection on your learning that shows you've been thinking carefully about the material. So that's the kind of thing the writing prompts are geared towards, and those are the kinds of things I want to see you bring out in the writing assignments. All right, so the final exam will be a 2-hour timed exam at the end of the semester. It's not a memory or knowledge test, so it will give you a chance to show what you've learned in the class, and you'll write a response to an open-ended prompt. So I'll give you a review sheet and a review video prior to finals week when we do the final exam. And the final exam is worth 100 points. Okay, finally, my office hours and my information. So I'll be holding office hours on campus, like I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and on Wednesdays at Zoom. On Zoom. So you're welcome to hop on. The Zoom link is on Brightspace. If you can let me know by email you're going to join that would be great, but it's not completely necessary. You can hop on Zoom. So you see my email and phone number here. If you need to reach out, if you need to contact me, they're here. They're also on Brightspace and they're on the syllabus. So if you need anything at any time, please reach out and contact me. And finally, good luck. I wish you a very rewarding and successful semester. And if anything comes up along the way, like I said, reach out by email, come to office hours if you need anything, stay in touch. I hope everything goes well throughout the semester.